Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. Learning to read is a social justice issue. To participate fully in our society, one must be able to read, and one must be able to read efficiently and effectively. Currently, about 14% of U.S. adults can't read. About 21% of U.S. adults read below the 5th grade level. This severely impacts their ability to earn a living wage and impacts their ability to adequately provide for themselves or their family, which in turn, children living in poverty score lower on all measures of academic achievement, including reading. And it's not because poor people are less capable of learning and achieving, it's because the deck is stacked against them. Environmental factors such as poor diet, inadequate neonatal health care, lack of books and computers, and exposure to crime makes learning much more difficult for children living in poverty. Time also is a luxury for those with means. Yes, it's easy for us to sometimes blame parents for not spending enough time with their kids. However, if your daily existence is devoted to making sure your family has food, health care, shelter, clothes, and other necessities, there's not a lot of time left over to go to the library if indeed your neighborhood had a library and you had the means to get there. Approximately 20% of our children have trouble learning to read. Of these, 3 to 5% have a severe reading disability. But even if one child was struggling to learn to read, that would be too many, especially if that were your child. These students are twice as likely to drop out of high school when compared to their peers. This means they are also more apt to be unemployed, underemployed, and incarcerated. This means that they're far less able to contribute to society, provide for their families, spend money in the economy, and pay taxes. Thus, making sure that all children learn to read is a social justice issue, but also it makes good economic sense. Some answers. Number 1, spending a little money up front to make sure that all students receive appropriate research-based reading instruction saves society a lot of money in terms of both money and other human costs. Schools should be held accountable for teaching practices, not standardized test scores. This hyper-testing that we've have recently has done absolutely nothing to fundamentally change the way we go about educating our children. What this hyper-testing has changed, it's narrowed the curriculum and made learning much harder. Current instructional practices used for reading must be informed by and reflect the latest research related to reading instruction, brain imaging, and cognitive neuroscience. We must make sure that current practicing teachers and prospective teachers have access to this, have professional development opportunities. And struggling readers must have access to appropriate research-based interventions within schools. Hint, it's not simply more phonics. As well as after-school reading programs, summer reading programs, lots of good books, and the best research-based strategy of all, breakfast. Enabling all students to learn to read is a social justice issue. It enables them to participate fully in society. Funding programs that enable struggling readers to read is also a sound economic investment.